Hello, possums! I love David Edna. Anywho, so we're gonna talk about day 22, which is take plenty of time for you or me. This is one thing that I like to say I do a lot of. I am alone a lot, but I take that back. I'm alone a lot, but I'm not taking me time. You know what I mean? 'Cause I'm not taking the time to figure myself out. I'm just not dealing with anybody because I'm wallowing in self-pity. Okay? So there's a difference. So a lot of the people who have depression, who are depressed, they will tell you that I spend a lot of time alone and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, you do. But it doesn't mean you're taking me time. Like I told my best friends, everybody that knows this about me, I have been working since I was 19 years old. I have not taken a vacation just for the sake of taking a vacation or time, to go do something fun, like go away, like that, but twice, and that cumulative was 6 days. 7 years working, 6 days. Now there have been days, there have been a lot of times I've been taking time off of work to rest and to sleep because I need to catch up on sleep or because I'm exhausted or overwhelmed, but I'm not taking the me time to get acquainted with myself, to get to know myself, to be like, oh my God, let me get back into my star player. None of that. So I find that's a very, very important thing for us to do, and that goes back to that idea and that habit from the 7 habits of highly effective people of renewing the soul. You got to take out the time for you to understand you, what you like, what you don't like, what you can do, what you can't do, what you're feeling, what you're not feeling, what needs to stay, what needs to go. You need time for all that. And honestly, a lot of people, especially in this now age, we are programmed to think that we're as useful as our economic or professional output. And it's like, no, you could be an effective worker but still be a broken and not quite great person. And that is the onus is on us to be like checking with ourselves. Is like, you know what? I need some me time. I need some discovery time. I need to meditate. That's also a huge thing for people. I keep slacking on it. Meditation, getting a journal. That's me time. My daily stoic journal. I need to start writing that again. Journaling, meditation, exercise, doing yoga. You don't have to go on vacation. You don't have to, leave the comfort of your home, but you need to do something that's going to center your mind. And where you have to ask yourself the hard questions. I struggle with this all the time. I used to meditate, and then I couldn't get my mind still enough, so I stopped doing it because I got angry. I did yoga, but it hurt, so I stopped doing it. Even though the effects, they're wonderful after the fact, is the process I don't like too much. For instance, we're going to go back, and we're just going to get personal. In that interim between, day 20 and 21, the days I just wasn't doing anything. My grandmother, she got a tumor, a cancerous tumor in her brain. They operated on it. And I want to say within a week, she was gone. She had an aortic rupture, and she died. And I remember I didn't leave work. I kept working. And I remember my patience being shorter. I remember being more emotional because I'm not a crier. I was that week. I'm not a crier. And I remember, going, because my sister was in town, so I went to go hang out with my sister. And I remember getting a few spirits in my system, and I remember me and her talking. And about, what she is, where she is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because it bothered me because I felt guilty that I wasn't there, And that stuck with me for a while. Like, me and my sister had the talk, and it was a good talk, you know what I mean? Me and mom had a talk, it was a good talk. Me and my friends had talks, my friends were there for me, they rallied for me. But I wasn't taking the time for me to figure out what my issue was. I felt guilty. Why did I feel guilty? What was it? Why wasn't I getting over things? Why wasn't I okay? And so one day, I sat and I meditated with myself, and all of these guilty feelings that I had with my grandmother, with my grandfather, with another grandmother who all passed away, I never resolved them. Like, I was hanging on to things from 5 years ago, at that point a month ago. I was hanging on to all of these things. I wasn't checking in with me as to why I felt the way I did. And honestly, not letting those things go has played a huge role in my psyche. Like, when my grandmother died when I was 11, I never got over it. I had nightmares about her, being murdered. I'd have all these horrible things, all these horrible thoughts, and I internalized them for a long time. And so I wasn't getting what I needed out of myself. And me and mom talked about it, and I felt better, I cried about it and I felt better, but I never really got over it for me. You know what I mean? And so it took 15 years. My grandmother died October 5th, 2002, and it took me until March 2018 to get over it. My grandfather, my papa, I never got a chance to say goodbye to him. I was there when he died. I didn't go to his funeral because I couldn't afford it. Same with my grandma, couldn't afford it. And I didn't get past that. And so when I meditated, what ended up happening was, and it was the most amazing experience I could ever tell somebody. I meditated, and the object is to clear your mind. And my mind wouldn't stay clear. I kept having interruptions, and it was my grandparents, all three of them. And I remember meditating and crying, and meditating and crying, and I got to speak to them. And I'm not saying, because again, I'm not really a big faith-based person, whatever, but I got to say to them what I needed to say to them. And they were able to say to me what they needed to say to me. My grandmother, she called me an asshole. And told me that, this wasn't all needed. I suffered for nothing because I wasn't checking in with me. I wasn't processing my emotions. I did not understand that I suffered not for nothing, but I suffered when I didn't have to suffer. All I had to do was call on them, and all I had to do in order to do that was be aware of me and take that time out for me to figure me out and figure out where my heart was and what my mind was thinking. Now, again, I don't expect the examples to be that extreme for you. If they are, more power to you. If they're not, more power to you. But the reality of it is that when we check in with ourselves, when we take that time for ourselves, we understand ourselves better. And so these depression triggers, they happen less frequently. Or if they do happen, the intensity is not as strong as it should be. And so what I would hope that you take away with this is you need to take that time for yourself. You need to take that time to say, you know what, I need to have a me day. Go someplace. If you want to go to a park, meditate, go to a movie with yourself, take yourself out to dinner. Do what you need to do, but you need to have a status report with yourself. You think about it. You have evaluations with jobs. Why not have evaluations with yourself? You have, a State of the Union address. Why not have a State of Yourself address? You have, relationship check-ins. Check in with yourself. By all means, check in with yourself. You deserve that for yourself. Because honestly, at the end of the day, no matter what, you are the most important thing for you. And I hope that you stick with that. And I hope that sticks with you. And I hope that this video finds you well. Thank you. Bye.